guys, welcome back to the Yarnquisitions Podcast. I'm Celine, and if the intro is different, it's because it is. This is my cat, Mia, and she's been really adamant about getting pets today. I'm obviously still in my living room. Because the lighting is good and I woke up somewhat early. I don't know. I'm drinking the last bit of my coffee, and if you hear that rustling, it's my cats. And they're playing around in a paper roll basically because they just love the crinkling paper. And so I worked on only one project, and then during the weekend I only worked on a different project. So I only worked on 2 projects this week. And yeah, that's really all I have to show you. 2 whips, no finished objects. And I'm working on the basket on the weekend while I was away in LA. Hey, excuse you. Sorry. My cat is wanting to look in the mirror. That's behind my phone, and that's like right next to it, my easel. Hey. Okay. Crisis averted. So on the weekend I was in LA, so I could only bring one project, and I brought this one, and low-key regret it because it's so heavy, but it was like a simple project. I only worked on it on Friday night, and then the rest of the time I was just too tired to do anything else. I don't know how many rows I got, but maybe like 5. It's hard to tell because it's just single crochet. Yeah. I'm kind of like low energy right now. And I did the lourdes genser all the days before Friday, basically. Let's see. Oh yeah, and I don't know why, but I feel like such a dummy because on this page it says 23, and then there's like a line separating these 2 numbers, and then there's like a 10, right? Like apparently that's supposed to mean 23 stitches per 10 centimeters. But I thought it was 23 stitches by 10 rows, but that's incorrect. So I don't know why, but it just clicked like yesterday that's what that means. So basically, I think most of the sandnes garn patterns, they only have the stitch count, or not stitch count, what is it called? The only stitches for the gauge. I think that's how you say that, yeah. They don't have any like guide for the row gauge, only stitch gauge. So mean, that's fine for the most part, but just because you could just measure how long you want it. Don't know how to get a shorter one, or how to make it shorter, especially when the pattern is completely, what do you call it? Like filled. When the pattern is, like, you have to do X amount of rows anyways to get, to finish the sweater, I guess. But if you did not understand what I said, then you could just disregard it, because it might be more confusing anyways. And I realized that I didn't even say like some of the alterations that I did, especially for the middle part. What do you call it? Like the middle stitch for the sleeve, where you like start and end. And in the pattern it says to like knit 2 together on the left side and then knit 2 through the back loop, or knit 2 together through the back loop on the right side. But I did that in the beginning on one of the sleeves. I forgot which one already. But only did that in the stockinette section. But all the other parts, I like started doing it like purl 2 together, or purl 2 together through the back loop. And honestly, doing this sweater, the lourdes genser, it just makes me more proficient in purl through the back loop, because that's really annoying. And in the beginning I found it really, really hard purling through the back loops, but now it's getting easier. So if you need a project that that you're like not confident in those kind of stitches, and like knit 2 together through the back loop as well, I find it easier now to do than before I started this sweater. And so this is how much I've done. So I completed the other sleeve, completed both sleeves, and I'm working on the body now, which the body is much more simpler than the sleeves, and that's why I did the sleeves first, because then now I'm like super familiar with the pattern, and I could just not look at the pattern and just keep knitting basically on this, except for when I need to establish the pattern, then I look at the at the chart in the book, because I don't remember how to start it. I just know what to do after. And everything just keeps getting stuck in the mohair, so please excuse me while I take something out. And the way that it fits is kind of like a mock neck turtleneck. So it doesn't really go up your neck, and it's very like loose. So if you don't like stuff like clinch, like too close to your neck, I think this sweater is pretty good. And my cat was scratching the couch. Oh. Oh. Can you see him? Oh, maybe. Good job. What a good boy, huh? Can you see him? Oh, I can only see his like part of his face. He looks so tiny. But he's not tiny. He's pretty big. Let's see what else about this. And I did the sleeves kind of unevenly just because I forgot that I should count count the rows on the first sleeve, but I totally forgot and I didn't do that, so I just measured both sleeves. Or basically I knitted until I got the right measurements for both sections, and it was kind of annoying to do the eyelets because it's 2 rows of eyelets, and that's kind of annoying. So one sleeve has a slightly longer 2x2 rib section than the other sleeve, but it's only by 1 row. So, but I don't know why one is way longer than the other. Excuse you. I'm trying to get my yarn. So they're my cats are at a standoff right now. That's why you hear that. I mean, if you can hear it. Take a sip before my cats knock down the camera. Let's see. And then for the 1x1 rib, excuse you. He's about to bite my. I mean, he did bite the yarn that was just lying on the floor. So for the 1x1 rib, I somehow magically got the right amount of rows, but for some reason it's still longer than the other one. So I'm like, maybe I just did it much looser than the first time around. So annoying. Probably because it is such a small circumference, so it like varies a lot more. So rip me, but I mean, when I wear it, I probably wouldn't even notice it anyways because it's such a small difference. I think it's like a 0.5 centimeter difference, or like 5mm difference. So when you have it on, it's like not as noticeable. Definitely not gonna put this on right now. But I'm at a what's it called? Stockinette section, knitting set. A knit row. So yeah. Oh, and so far I've used so I'm on this is the 3rd cake skein hank of the Purl Soho line weight in the color ballerina or ballet pink. So it's the third skein or third hank, and this is the fifth ball of knitting for olive, soft silk mohair in ballerina. Getting these names so mixed up because they're so similar. They're so similar. And was it Saturday night or something? I was like in bed scrolling through Instagram and I saw that Rebecca had her cargill sweater test knit link out already, and I was like looking through it. I'm like, should I do it? I really do like the sweater, but I wasn't sure if I should do it. But then I saw that she required the Ravelry handle in the form. And I'm like, maybe I should just apply for it anyways. Maybe I won't get picked because I don't have a Ravelry handle or I don't have an account on Ravelry. So I was like, there is a high chance that I won't get picked, so I applied for it. And of course, I already thought of the yarn for it. But now I'm indecisive. And I don't know if I should do it in a different yarn. So I'll show you my, and did I say that I was picked for it? Picked for the cargo sweater test knit. So yay, I'm in the test knit. So I'll show you my yarn choices right now. So this is my first yarn choice, and this is what I was thinking about using when I applied for it, and it's the aquamarine and aqua mohair from colourmart, and this is from We Are Knitters. It's leftover because I bought too much of it for the olive cardigan. So this and this, it's like so good. And I bought this aqua mohair for this colorway just because it's kind of hard to find a matching aqua or aquamarine. And this is such a unique shade, so it is very hard to find a spot-on color match, but this is close enough. It's more the vibe I'm going for this, and it'll create some dimension to the sweater because the sweater is like more of a 3D pattern, kind of like the Jenny sweater a little bit, or at least in terms of like technique. It is kind of like the Jenny sweater, but the Jenny sweater is a smocking stitch or a smock stitch, so it's more like horizontal, I guess, and the cargo sweater is more like vertical, or at least the stitch that you have to pull through, I guess. Like if you look up the images, you'll know what I mean, okay? So yeah, cargo sweater is more like, the pattern looks more vertical-ish. And I actually was planning on using this yarn combo for sweater number 15 because I bought the pattern, but I haven't used it yet because I wasn't sure if I should downsize the needles or not. But yeah, I have way more than enough for this sweater, and I think this sweater is supposed to be kind of form-fitting. It doesn't have that much positive ease. It's like 2 centimeter to 10 centimeter positive ease, so that's around like 0.5 or no 1 to 4 inches about, or 0.5 to 4 inches. So yeah, this is my first yarn choice, and then my second one that I thought maybe would look good as well is this blue combo. So this is the cashmere. It's a lace weight, but I have another cone of this, so I'll double it up so that it'll be a fingering and plus the mohair. And cargo sweater is a light fingering weight with a mohair, so that's fine. But I kind of want to do it without the mohair, but it's not thick enough. Unless it blooms like crazy, but I don't have faith in that. I could always do a swatch, of course, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'll just swatch this by itself, and then, or these two first, and then this by itself, and then see what I like. And if this doesn't bloom enough, I'll undo the swatch and knit it with the mohair, because sometimes the mohair stands out a lot, especially if it's like a totally different color, and this is it's not marled, but it's like heathered. This is heathered, so it'll definitely change the look a lot, and it's also like a different shade of blue. It's more of a, it's not minty. Maybe it is like a minty blue, but it's not as green as the aquamarine. And these also are from colourmart. This is the Celeste blue. I think it's just called Celeste. Yeah. And this is heavy lace weight cashmere in the color Atari. And yeah, I'm just such a sucker for this kind of blue. It's like, it's a toned down blue-ish. Yeah, with some heathering, very light blue heathering. Yeah, and what can I say? I just love this, and it's very similar to the Nepal fog mix, or drops Nepal fog mix. So if you want a similar color, that's pretty freaking similar. Yeah. So and I got back from LA yesterday, so that's why I haven't swatched anything, because I was working on the lourdes genser. Is there anything else? Let me put this away real quick. Okay, let's take a sip of your beverage. If you have water, I don't know, like coffee. I have coffee or tea or something. Gotta stay hydrated when it's hot outside. Although, like, when I was in LA, it was much cooler than over here, and I don't understand why that is. And oh man, the smog in LA is unreal. I don't think it's anything I can get used to. Like I know in South Bay, if you hike up to like one of the nearby mountains, well, they look more like hills because they're not that tall. But yeah, but the nearby, if you hike up one of the nearby mountains and you look down into the valley, so basically all of South Bay, including Silicon Valley, there's like this very thin layer of like smog, but that's nothing, absolutely nothing compared to the smog in LA. But it only happens in the summer, at least in South Bay. In the winter, it like clears up a lot, probably because there's more like wind and things like that. But in the summer, all the pollution kind of gets trapped in the valley. I mean, and that's true for like all valleys. That's like surrounded by mountains on both sides, and South Bay is exactly like that. There's the mountains coming down the peninsula, so it like, yeah. So it surrounds the left side of the valley, and then there's the like Fremont Mountains, which surrounds the right side of the valley. And so you get this kind of like valley, I guess, and it just traps all the hot air and smog and pollution like that. But yeah, people used to say that South Bay is like a mini LA just because it's like kind of suburban, but also, and kind of really sprawled out, because this was like developed much later than like San Francisco and like and other like more north Bay Area cities like Oakland, or bigger cities really, because for some reason San Francisco still has way more people in it than like San Jose. Although I think maybe it's because there's just more places to live here. Down here, there's more like smaller towns and like other similar, well, is it similar size to San Jose? I guess. But they have like less people. All that to say that I can't imagine living for a long period of time in LA. Like, the traffic is so horrible, but thankfully we avoided most of that kind of traffic. But yeah, so bad, or I don't know if it's bad, but just looking at the sky, it's just like, it's, the blue is too light for like a clear day. So when it was like in the morning, I saw clouds. I'm like, okay, that makes sense why it's like kind of cloudy today. And then when the clouds disappeared, I'm like, why is it still feel like an overcast day? Like, someone tell me. But it's just because of the pollution. So, and I know people say that it's still way better than like back in the day, like before there was like any like regulation on smog and like smog checks on your cars and stuff. And because I watched the H3 podcast, apparently in other parts of the country they don't have smog checks, and that's freaking ridiculous to me, because even though there may be like less people in other parts of the country, like you just don't want to like needlessly pollute the air. I mean, because everyone breathes it in. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just better for your health to get smog checks for a car. And I guess in California also you can get pulled over by police if they see that your car doesn't pass the smog check, because it's kind of obvious in California, because most cars don't have, what's it, like that smoke sometimes you see from like cars like revving their engine or something, or when they need to go really fast, there's like this dark plume that comes from the exhaust pipe. But if something is always coming out of the exhaust pipe, then you know that person did not do their smog check at all for their car. So I don't know, is this like a thing everywhere? Is this a thing in other countries, like smog checks? I mean, I don't know. I'm like, it's like a no-brainer in California. So I don't know how it is in other states. But yeah, I definitely feel like I can't live in a place that has that much pollution. Which makes me think, like, did Seoul have that much pollution? But also when I was in Seoul, because there's just so many like high rises and stuff, or super tall buildings, and it's also like very hilly, just like San Francisco. So I found it like, I barely looked at the sky when I was living in Seoul, and I'm like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. After living in like, it's such a quiet town, I kind of like it. But the inconvenience is kind of annoying, to say the least. Just because like I grew up in San Francisco, so then city life, it's just so convenient. And then like when I was in LA, I'm like, oh, I love that there's just so many, like I didn't have to leave the neighborhood basically where the hotel was to like do anything basically. So I always love that about the city. You can just walk everywhere, you don't have to drive. if you don't need to, you can just stay in your neighborhood. But yeah, I think we were staying in like West Hollywood, Beverly Grove area. It's like on the border of both those. I still don't understand, like, are they neighborhoods? Are they towns? Is it part of LA or is it part of LA County? Like, I never know what the hell is up with that. Like, and it doesn't say like on the, what do you call it, on the address. It doesn't say LA, so I don't know. I'm very confused, if you can't tell, about like how, like, are they small towns but they're part of LA County and that's why we call it LA, or what? Yeah. But at least in Korea they tell you that it's a freaking city because they always have she next to the name of the city, so it's basically like Seoul-shi, or I think it's something else though, because Seoul is like it's a special city, so it's like a little different than the surrounding areas, or the way the municipality is set up is different than the surrounding cities because it's such a big city. So it's like, I think it translates to like Seoul special or unique city or something like that. My memory's so foggy about it. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck is up with LA's thing. Because at least New York, you know that New York is like super huge and they have sections that are as big as a city, basically. Like Brooklyn is part of New York City, Manhattan's part of New York City. They're as big as a city could be, but they're not separate cities. You know what I mean? What do they call them? Like, it starts with B, but I'm not sure, so I'm not gonna say it because I'm not that familiar with how New York is set up. Which reminds me, it's kind of like Tokyo in a way. They're very unique setups for cities, in my opinion. Because I'm used to San Francisco city and then San Francisco county. And the county only extends to like Treasure Island, you know, basically. Yuba Buena Island. And I think also Alcatraz. I'm not sure about Angel Island though. Like, I don't know what county Angel Island is in because it's kind of far from San Francisco. Why am I talking about cities again? But yeah, on the weekend I went to a wedding and it's very posh, very nice. Yeah, that was my first time going through Beverly Hills just because I never really did that many touristy things in LA proper because I always have to go through LA to go to San Diego But I don't, yeah, after like the last time we went to San Diego, via car, my ears were ringing, so we usually fly down now. But if we're just going to LA, then we could drive, because it's only 5 hours. But then for some reason you hit traffic from LA to San Diego, and then it's plus 2 to 3 hours. So yeah. And apparently they also closed like a lot of the lanes from LA to San Diego, probably because it's under construction. So the traffic is like a lot worse right now. So yeah, definitely not driving to San Diego ever again. But yeah, the only other times I went in LA or stayed in LA was for Anime Expo. But that was such a long time ago. It was still when I was in college or university. And I only stayed in the downtown area, which is a little sketch. But yeah. Like the Hollywood, West Hollywood, and the Beverly Grove area felt like it's very dense. Like the whole thing feels like downtown, even though it's not downtown. But the vibe felt like downtown. We also went to some museums and yeah, in our free time. And we ate a lot of good food. And I don't know why or how, but we went to an afternoon tea thing, and then the tea was so weak, and low-key I was disappointed with the tea, because the finger food was like quite strong. So then when you go sip the tea, you taste that the tea is much blander after eating the finger food, or in between bites. So I'm like, kind of interesting. But it's very nice for people who are not used to drinking tea. But I'm an avid tea drinker. I like my tea strong. So maybe that's why I think it was disappointing. And I don't know. The tea wasn't anything special. Like, the tea that I have right now is like very affordable tea. And it tastes like way better than the teas they had. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased. But yeah. And it was kind of expensive. It was $95 per person. And each person gets their own set of finger food, and everyone gets the same thing. So it's kind of nice. No one has to fight over the food. And it was unexpectedly filling, because I only ate half of it, and then I was or half of my portion, and I was so full already, and then the tea made me fuller. So yeah. I totally forgot if I said this already, but like for the divided sections, like the stockinette sections, for the sleeves, I just didn't purl the first stitch. I just did it in pattern, so it doesn't have like this weird like indent, I guess, along that part. Wow, it took me a long time to do this row. And the place I'm talking about is Knife Pleat, which is a 1-star Michelin restaurant. And for afternoon tea, it's only on Saturdays. And it's like a more casual environment, so there's no like dress code for it. But I'm not sure if there is a dress code for like dinner or like any other sections that they serve. I can't remember if they do breakfast, but yeah, it's like in a mall as well, so I thought that was interesting. But they have such nice like ambience and like decor or like furnishings, so it doesn't really feel like you're in a mall, and that mall was so bougie. It's in South Coast Mall, I think it's called South Coast Mall in, I don't know if it's Costa Mesa or Costa Mesa. I always forget the pronunciation of these things. And yeah, drink a little bit. Let me check how long I've been recording. I don't want to go like over an hour. Let's see. Oh, I can't even see it. Sorry, let me move this real quick. Almost 50 minutes. So I thought this would be quick, but I guess I'm just ranting about my LA trip. But yeah, we ate so much good food, and the wedding venue was so nice. And the wedding was at Greystone Mansion, I think it's called, which apparently is like the school in Gilmore Girls or something. I never watched it, but the people that my boyfriend knew watched it, so they're like fangirling that they're on this property. But it's kind of interesting that it's like a public attraction, or an attraction that's like by the city, I think, of Beverly Hills, which is interesting. Yeah, it was really fun, the wedding. But I was completely pooped after. And yeah, I don't know what else to say besides had a very busy weekend. Is there anything I want to say about the testnet? Well, I felt kind of slow with the testnet, just because everyone else has at least made a swatch, except for the people that's on vacation right now, or not where their yarn stashes, so they don't have access to the yarn they want to use. And I guess I was kind of in the same boat until yesterday. So I didn't even know that when I applied, it was like basically the last day to apply. So I like made it just in time, because when I was reading the deadline to apply, I thought it was Monday. But Monday was the day that the testnet starts. I'm like, oh shit. How did I not know that? But then like it kind of, the group chat started like before that, so confused. But yeah. First time using a group chat on Instagram, and I feel like such a noob because I don't know how to attach pictures, which is kind of funny. Or how to attach pictures so that it's not like a timed picture, or timed, it's not timed. So it's gonna be a learning curve, that's all I gotta say. And there's already like, well, I don't know if I should say more about the testnet because, you know, gotta give people privacy. But yeah, I just like check on it like once a day, and there's like so many messages. It's kind of like feels kind of like Discord and the amount of messages that are there, and you just have to catch up. So it gets to be overwhelming like pretty quick, the group chat, but if you do have a question, people are like really responsive and stuff, so that's kind of nice. Obviously I won't be able to work on it until I'm done with the swatches, and then ask for people's opinion, because still wishy-washy. I'm still wishy-washy about it. Hopefully the last podcast was like kind of, the audio was better, but I don't know, because I'm like really soft-spoken when I'm by myself, and talking louder is kind of hard for some reason. So I don't know what to say, if the audio sucks ass still. I hope you like this new setup. I might keep doing this until indefinitely, because the lighting in here is just way better than in the bedroom. It's just so much better. Uh-oh. Did I mess up? No, I haven't. Okay. Ooh. I was like, did I? If I did one row completely wrong, I just have to frog the whole row, and I don't like to do that. But of course I'll do it if I have to. I've done that before, for sure. So I think I'll end it here. I hope you guys will have a great day or a great night if you're watching this at night, or whenever I upload this, or whenever you watch this. I forgot to say what I'm wearing. So I'm just wearing a dress that I got from Korea. But I ordered it online, like in 2020, I think. So yeah, it's polyester, so perfect for spring, summer, mostly summer though. Let's see, yes, and happy knitting, happy crafting. You girls gotta go. Bye. See you guys next week.